Well, good evening. The Who's today were on at Warwick Farm. Warwick Farm, yeah, look, Warwick Farm. Of course they were on at Warwick Farm. They were on at Rose Hill. Um, I don't know what, I think the other day I said it was Friday when it was Thursday. Anyway, I'm trying to tell you, I dead said don't know what day it is. Um, I think it's Saturday, and the Who's were on at Rose Hill today. Last night, of course, they were on at Canterbury, and at Canterbury last night, as I've been saying, the track there at Canterbury now is playing much fairer, much fairer. You can lead on the fence, or you can come home wide if there's a bit of pace through the middle. Playing much fairer. That last night the track was good. The rail was 3 out. There was no wind. A very still night. And the figures on last night and today, it's becoming. It is great, isn't it? It is great. It's just absolutely fantastic. How there's not a big fence to stop the people from getting in, I don't know, because the captains are giving section away. If you think the screen flux over the 2 days are last night and today are no good, you should see the marketplace. It's diabolical. Last night, the first race, they said there was 102.6 on the screen. There was only 91 in the marketplace, field of 5, and the winner, knockabout, you wouldn't see it, but there was a stack of $5.50 given. And it was when they hit the line, there was only 1.3 lengths between the 5 of them, and it was able to come from last. It was under the whip at the 600 knockabout, but it rounded up right near the line and won by 0.3 of a length. The when I say there was 91, the opening favourite in this race, Celtic Seed, which only finished up running third and only beat 0.4 of a length, it led on the fence. Well, I don't know. I couldn't find a customer for it. It went up 6 to 4, $2.50. They returned at $3.60. I was $4.20 in the outside ring. I couldn't get anybody to say an Oxford on it. It was just no one there to back it. You couldn't give it away. But it only just failed. It led to the shadows of the post and was nabbed. As I say, coming from last knockabout. The top weight, it started favourite, Young Fun. It went up equal favourite with Celtic Seed. It got out from $2.50 out to $3.50, believe it or not. But it only started about a $2.60 chance, or 70 maybe. Very, very well backed. Knockabout got the cash. Of course, it was in the worst section of the track at Newcastle last start, so its run had to be forgiven. The second race there last night, they said on the screen there was 98.9, yes, 98.9. There was only 94.5 in the marketplace. And this winner, Windbender, it looks like it's by Zabeel, it'll keep on improving, this horse now. It's only lightly raced. It went up it sat back in second last position and won by 2.5 lengths easily, beating Warhorse, who came from last, got onto its back turning for home. Mintaro, these were the flux very quickly. Mintaro, $4.40 to $6 into into $3.80. Didn't have a price. Hippopotamus, whatever its name is, $2.80 out to $3.80. The next runner, Phantom Queen, about $13.19. Warhorse, $3 out to $4. Favourite, the winner very well back, $4.40 back into $3.50, and $301 Margavi. They weren't a great lot, but the winner's a big gangly thing, and it looks to have plenty of ability. And as I say, it'll stay. Race 3, there was 95.7 on the screen and only 89 in the marketplace. Oh my God, Father! These were the flux very quickly. Grift went from 21 to 41. The runner from down in Victoria, which finished up, it led on the fence, Battle Pact. It ran last, beaten 7.5 lengths. It went from a 3-to-1 chance, $4 to $8.50. Hard marker was $9 at one stage into $6. Phantom Willie at one stage, $4.40, started $3.50. Fluctuated up and down a couple of times. Zan Addy finished up starting favourite. $3 out to $3.50 into $3 into 9 to 4, $3.20. And the bottom one, you wouldn't see it, Christy Lee, it went up 9 to 2, got out to $7, but started only the opening quote 9 to 2. And Christy Lee, it sat one out, one back, and it got the cash. It ran second. Zan Eddy, who sat outside the leader, Battle Pact, and the stablemate to the winner, Phantom Willie, who they said they were going to ride back tonight, last night, and they did. They also said they were going to ride Christy Lee a bit quieter, which they did. There were only 6 runners in the race. Anyway, Christy Lee finished up getting the cash and won it fairly convincingly. Race 4, number 8 won this race, Marjahar, and it was extremely well backed. It opened up. It started clear favourite at $3.60, and it opened up $4.80 and got out to $5.50 Marjahar, but only started $3.60, and it absolutely trotted in. On the screen, again, the figures were no good. It said 99.9, and on the in the marketplace there was only 96%. There was only 96% in the marketplace, and the winner Marjahar, as I say, it trotted in, and it was 9 to 2 into 5 to 2 after opening up $4.80, got out to $5.50, but only started $3.60, as I say. What was the situation here? Oh yes, Tidbit. Well, at one stage it was funny with Tidbit. It finished up running second. It opened up 5 to 2, $3.50. It got out to $4. It was into $3.20 at one stage. No better. You couldn't even get $3.30, but it finished up starting $4.20. You couldn't give it away at the finish. The stablemate Star Truce, they said if it was going to jump tonight, that was going to lead, and they did, and it jumped, and it set a very fast pace. It finished up running second last, beaten about 9 odd lengths. But the winner here, it trotted in. The opening favourite in the race, it didn't have a price. I'm talking about Angelican. It went up $3, Angelican, and it got out to $4.80. 2s to 15 to 4, and the figures, as I say, were disgraceful, and the pros had a very large plate of Marjahar, and we paid the penalty. I must admit, I wasn't that keen on it, and I had a bad result. Race 5, they said, now I can't work this one out. They said there was 101.9 on the screen, but I only counted 90. Buckmore was 26 out to 41. Ain't She Grand started the clear favourite. It opened up $3.80, got out to as much as $4.40. Ain't She Grand, might have even been $4.60. It only started $3.20. Champing, it went from $9 out to $9.50 back into 8. Kimberly Kidd was 17 into 15. Cosmo King, you wouldn't see it. I couldn't believe my eyes. It went up $4. It got out to $4.60, $4.80. Now that was snapped up and taken by the pros, and it was into $4.20. You couldn't get $4.41 board in the ground at one stage. For some reason, don't ask me how. Now the best fluck of this horse is only $4.60 best fluck. Now I did see $6, believe it or not. $6 was given in the outside ring for a bit of section. I saw plenty of $5.50 on the fence, and then right towards the finish of betting, the $5.50 and the $5 and the $4.80 was taken. It started $4.60, and And the next runner, Bohemian Spirit, it was $11 out to 18. School of Turin was $6 out to 12, and Don't Blink was hard to lay, although I laid it for something. It went from $3.50 out to $5.50, about 90%. It wasn't worth a caser, and Cosmo King got the cash. It sat midfield. Who got trapped wide in this race? Kimberly Kidd. So its run wasn't bad actually. It only got beat 2.3 lengths. Second horse never went around. A runner got a run through along the rails, and Cosmo King sat midfield. There was a replacement rider. Kevin McAvoy, Clever Karen, replaced Blake Shin. Race 6, they said there was 102.8 on the screen. There was only 97% in the marketplace, and Pendleton was, I think I might have pointed out, it was a very strong win at Gosford, and it was taken straight to the lead. And when it got an easy section down the back, and when they came to the turn, it was it said see you later, and it won easily by 2.5 lengths. As much as $11 given about it. It only started about $9, and it was a solid win. As I say, we only bet 97% in this race, and the favourite, Shoe Swap, I must admit I found it extremely hard to lay. Even the second pick, Urban Rocker, Shoe Swap, went from $2.50 out to $3.20, and Urban Rocker from $3.50, a 5 to 2 chance, out to $4.80 or $4.60. Very hard to lay. The punters, number one was very well backed, Eliza Blues. It was held up in the straight, but it wouldn't have won even if it wasn't held up. It opened up about an $8 chance and got out to as much as $9.50, but only started about a 11 to 2 chance, $6.50. And there were a couple of other runners backed. It wasn't much good, and if you didn't lay the favourite and you went off the 10 or 11, the winner, it was hard to win on it. Now, what about the next race? This last race, this was the biggest go of the night. This was bad, and this was a huge result for the captains, a huge result, because the winner written in the stars, it didn't have a price. The winner written in the stars, it went from $3.50, a 5 to 2 chance, opened up favourite, and it started $8.50. It went from 5 to 2 to 15 to 2. And the reason being, and we had that on the screen, it said 92.7 in the marketplace, 88%. These were the flux. Nickelberg didn't have a price, went from $7 to $15. The winner didn't have a price, from $3.50 to $8.50. Alice didn't have a price, $7 out to $9.50. Now, the next runner, Glamour Rock. Now, this is the one. It was backed as if there was no settling. There was no settling. All you had to do was put in, and it was take out. And it went up $3.80. Now, believe it or not, it got to as much as $4. It started $2.10. I was $2.15, $2.10. What's the difference? It was poleaxed. It was $4, $3.80, $3.70, $60, $50, $40, $3.20, $3, $3, $2.90, $80, $70, $60, $50, $40. They kill you for $2.30, and they kill you for the 5 to 4. Started 10 to 9, and I think the thinking behind it was there was going to be so much pace, and they could have fallen for the 3 card trick here, thinking that written in the stars from the inside alley was going to go through and lead and be challenged in front and give in. Well, that most probably would have been the case, but that didn't happen. And with a fair bit of pace in the race, I suppose Glamour Rock was expected to run over the top of them. Bonzarina, it went up $6, got out to $7.50, started 7. Money Tree Fluctuated went from $5 out to $8, back into $7.50. Down to Systems went from 25 to 31. Enfinelli went from 31 to 41 into 31. And the bottom one, Lucen Lovely, which could have been it was the other speed horse in the race. It crossed from the extreme outside alley, barrier 9. it was 50 out to 80 and led on the fence and set a very fast pace. And coming across and sitting on its outside was Alistine, who was always going to be near the lead. Tucked in behind the leader on the fence, who was always going to be there more or less, was Mickelberg from barrier 1. And who was in the 1-1 position but the winner, written in the stars. And then it was down the back, it was a good gap back to Money Tree on its inside, Mons Arena, then the Avery, Glamorock, and the other pair tailed off, Enfinelli and also Systems. And when they turned for home, he got off heels, the winner written in the stars, and just held off Mons Arena to beat it by about a head or a neck. And the favourite, when pulled out down the back straight, coming 3 wide, but got onto the back of a runner just before the turn, it wouldn't have won. It found the line very, very poorly. It wouldn't have won if it would have got if there would have been more pace or whatever the situation would have been. It most probably wouldn't have won. That was about the meeting there. Figures were no good last night. Well, we followed on in Sydney at Rose Hill today, the first race. Well, it was all right. It was 109.9 on the screen, and they said there was 106, or there was 106 in the marketplace. Well, it wasn't that bad. Of course, we know the situation with the heat wave conditions that were supposed to happen, which didn't happen. The meeting was put back to 5 to 3, whatever it was, the first race. It wasn't as hot as I say as expected, and the crowd was very poor. But it wouldn't have mattered if the drinkers would have turned up. We wouldn't have held any more money. And there was a good bit of section there. They told me that because there were a lot less people in the members and the body warmth, I suppose, I spoke to a few people who were in the members, and they said they had to come out because they didn't take their coats with them. It was absolutely freezing in there with the air conditioning up, and you had to come out to warm up. But it was pretty warm in the betting ring all day in some races. As I say, in this first race, we got positive figures, but unfortunately for the captains, the favourite, Calming Influence, trained by Waller, it got the cash, a very professional performance. It went straight to the lead and led with the second favourite, Dream Forward, sitting, well, trying to keep it out at the beginning of the race, but couldn't, and then finally sitting in behind it, but getting around its heels after turning for home, and couldn't catch the favourite, and it the favourite won by a length. We put it up $2.70 or 80. It never got any better, and it started at one stage. It was into 250, but got out to 270 at the death. The second pick, Dream Forward, had every possible chance, as I say. It went up 9 to 4. Second pick got out to 11 to 4, 380 back into 350, and there were a few other runners backed here and there for a bit of section. The noticeable blower late in the betting was the top weight Cool Days, who opened up $11 chance, a 10 to 1 chance. I was 19 when they jumped and couldn't lay it. But by the same token, at one stage at $15, it could have got plenty of section out of it. The favourite, it was a bit too strong there. Getting trapped was wide in the race was Trader. Finished well back. Wouldn't have won if it wasn't trapped wide, but I suppose it would have finished a bit closer. The favourite was the best run. The second race, they said there was 100.4 on the screen. There's only 98% in the marketplace, a little bit less. You wouldn't see it. Queen's Elect, was the fluctuations of this race with Queen's Elect were very, very strange. We put it up a 9 to 2 chance, and that was taken for whatever you wanted into the $5 taken, the 480, the 460, and the 440. At one stage, you couldn't get 440 on the ground. It was $4.20. They'd kill you for $4.40. And then it quickly got back to as much as $6 and started $5.50. The favourite, it's not a bad, it was a very solid win at Canterbury, this runner. When Corey Brown, who rode it at Canterbury, shouldered his way clear. This runner found the line extremely strong at Canterbury, and it goes all right. It opened up $1.80, 5-4 on. We let you lay the 10-9 on for whatever you wanted, but at the finish, well, they returned at $1.65, but you could still have $1.75 at the in the main ring in the marketplace when they jumped. And there was the next runner didn't have a price. 4 tracks for kids. Well, of course, he'd had the bias in his favourite Newcastle last start. It went from $9 to $13, and there was a little bit of section about for the next four runners. Notably the bottom one, which was $17 into about $12 flying bubbles. But the favourite, it just sat outside the lead. It led on the fence. Jamie Starr from barrier 1. Favourite sat outside it, and unfortunately getting trapped 3 wide was Queen's Elect. Stuck on all right, but the favourite moved away at the finish and was eased down to win by 2.8 lengths. It was a very good win. Race 3. This was although I laid the winner well at $15. Natch Cash I'm talking about. On the screen they said there was 102.7, but in the marketplace only 97. And these were the flux. Barramilla went from $4 out to $4.60. Flying Bay from 9 to 15. Natch Catch went from $12 to 15 back into about 14 or 13. Sindarin from $5.50 out to $6, back to $5.50, back to 6. Now Silk Pins, it went up 9 to 4 favourite and got out to as much as $4. They returned at $2.70. I was $3 when they jumped, and laying it, I must admit, and laying it. And well, it had a few excuses, but it wouldn't have won if the excuses weren't there. The stablemate Caesar's Princess, 2 Silk Pins, and also Barramilla, while they had the 3 runners, it went from $4.60 out to $6, back into $5.50, but back to 6. And Winter Rain, it went from 15 out to 19. It led on the fence Caesar's Princess with Flying Bay on its outside. The favourite Silk Pins, it was directly behind the 2 leaders, reefing and pulling early, and then when they got to the turn, it was in 4th hole, the winner, Natch Cash. Well, Jeff Penzer couldn't believe his luck. Miss A. Colette on the favourite Silk Pins, well, it hung on her on the turn. She got off instead of staying where she was. She should have stayed there, but it wouldn't have won if she did. Excuse me. It wouldn't have won if she did, but she got off the fence and was going to go around the heels of the 2 leaders. And when she did that, it hung, and Natch Catch just went straight up underneath it, and it finished too strongly for Caesar's Princess and won easily by 2.3 lengths. It was a good result for the captains. If you didn't give the $15 and you stood Silk Pins. And you're able to lay the others, I suppose, at some stage. Race 4, they said there was 100.4 on the screen, and in the marketplace there was a skinny 94. You wouldn't see it. I must admit it was only in the outside ring, but as much as $5 was given about the winner, Ferment, in the outside ring for a bit of section, and but on the fence $4.40. Now these were the flux. Havana Ray, extremely well backed, even though it got well out the market to finish. We put it up a 6 to 4 chance. It got out to $2.80, or it's $2.70. Now that was poleaxed. That was poleaxed into as little as $2.35. I laid it well at $2.35, I must admit, but it did start $3 on my board, and it's only failed by 0.4 of a length. It ran a very good race. High on Believing. Now, it went up a $3.20 second favourite, and it got out to as much as $4.40, but it only started $3.60. Extremely well back. Southern Sky started $26, but that was taken at one stage. Shanghai Bound, you could have fluke getting $10, but plenty of $9.50 and $9. It started $8. Slick Sniper, it wasn't a bad run, Slick Sniper. It found the line very strongly. It was 30 out to 50, back into 40. Anything excuse me, was 30 out to 50. And the bottom one, as I say, Ferment, it went up the 3-to-1 bar the pair, 3-to-1 third favourite. It got out to $5 in the outside ring, but $4.40 on the fence, and it was it only started $4, fairly hard to get at the death, and it sat behind the pace and was able, and leading on the fence was the predicted leader, Havana Ray, and Southern Sky ran a mighty race. I thought he'd be back in the field, Southern Sky, but it raced up on the outside, ridden by Killer Kath O'Hara, outside the leader, and it fought on extremely well. It actually beat the favourite home, but grabbing the pair in the shadows of the post was the winner, Ferment, ridden by Nathan Berry. And you think Nathan Berry, he can ride. I've got to say, well, I know his mother. I know his mother says that him and Nathan, Neat Nathan Berry and Tommy Terrific Berry, she said there's nothing between them. They're equal. She said they're equal, and I quite believe it. I think Nathan Berry is just, Neat Nathan is just as neat, a good a rider as his brother, Tommy Terrific. You ask their mother, she'll tell you. Anyway, it was able to grab the other pair right on the line to win by 0.3 of a length, and it was apparently 0.4 to Havana Ray. High on believing, it sat third on the fence, having every possible chance, and it was ran fourth, beaten 1.8. And as I say, it found the line after missing the kick. Slick Sniper found the line well. Race 5, there was only 99.2 on the screen. In the marketplace, a skinny 92%. Now, I suppose the punters will be the grumble and grunters. They'll scream here, the ones who backed relaxed and happy. They'll say, "We want our money back. It shouldn't have started." Well, it shouldn't have started now because it ran third. But if it would have won, no, Christ, they would have said, "Thank Christ, thank God they let it start." But that wasn't the case. What happened was when they put them in the barrier, it got its foreleg up over the structure and was taken out, inspected by the vet, put back in, and it got beat. It ran third, beaten 4.8 lengths. Wouldn't have beat the winner with a start. Anyway, we only bet 92% here. These were the flukes. Now, we put up a $2.30 chance, $2.40 maybe, relaxed and happy. And with the minimal crowd there today and being a very tough marketplace, it was the betting was very foxy, and everyone trying to outsmart everybody. And it was edged out to, in the outside ring, when it was only about $2, maybe 70 on the fence, no better, to $3, which was taken. But that captain knew what he was doing, because you couldn't give it away, although you could. I must admit, I got a good bit of section out of it at $3 and $2.90, but I was $3.20 when they jumped. But it got out to $3 back in the outside ring, back into $2.80, but then it got to $3 and $3.10 on the fence, back into $2.90. But then it was $3.20 when they jumped on my board. The next runner, Tax Me If You Can, it went from $8 out to $9, started $7.50, long lasting. 12 out to 13, back into 11. Now the winner, Happy Galaxy, this was a huge result for the captains. This is how you do it. Now see, this is where the trick is. This is where the punters don't understand. The bookies, we know who's got. It's all a trick. It's a 3-card trick. It's called the big bluff. It's called the bluff. What you do is you just keep on calling, and we knew this would win, Happy Galaxy, and all the punters, of course, thought it had no chance because we only put it up a $5 chance, Happy Galaxy, and got out to $5.50, and then it was wound off. That was a little bit of a trick. But then it got out to as much as $7 and started $6.50. Well, of course, how was it going to win? How was it going to win? It was just going to jump to the front and say, "See you later," which happened. Hunter Jack, it was $9 into $8. Treaty was backed from opening 13 out to 14, back into 12. Almighty charge. You think this wasn't a plunge. $14 given, plenty of 13. It only started a 13 to 2 chance, $7.50. Had every chance, even though it raced in restricted room at one stage. The next one was scratch, Bold Tuna. It went from 26 to 41. And the bottom one, Phil Dancer, went from 51 to 81. About 92 and a bit percent. And it had the perfect alley, Happy Galaxy. There were 9 runners, and it had barrier 9. It just came straight across, found the fence, found the bunny. On the fence behind it was Bold Tuna from barrier 2. Well, it couldn't win. And of course, Tax Me If You, the favourite, was on its outside and looking at the leader. But when they turned for home, it was just travelling so sweetly. The leader, Happy Galaxy, Jay Ford, all he did was he only breathed, and it put 2.5 lengths on them easily. It finished up winning by 4 lengths, coming from third last on the fence, which always finds the line strongly, was the resuming Tax Me If You Can, ridden by Jay Collette, and it was able to beat Relaxed and Happy for second position. Relaxed and Happy got beat 4.8 lengths. Getting trapped wide in the run was Treaty, and also Field Dancer was trapped wide, but they wouldn't have beaten the winner. Race 6, they said there was 105.3 on the screen for the robots. But in the marketplace there was only 97, and the winner was very well backed, Kookarai. These were the flux. Marden went from $5 to $6.50, back into 6, into $5.50. 6 when they jumped. Al's Gold, 13 out to 15, back into 14. Lucripidus, a little bit hard to lay, $8 out to 9. Court Connection backed at one stage at 8, but started that price. Too High Tech, they only returned at $17. I was 21 when they jumped. Now Kookarai went from $7 out to 9, but only started 7. Well backed. And they said this was a 1900 metre race, but it was actually only a 800 metre race. Panko, well, Panko hasn't seen Spanko. It hasn't got out yet. P. Mertens, unfortunately, he was third last on the fence, where he was always going to be. From barrier 3, the horse hasn't much pace, and when they turned for home, unfortunately for P. Mertens, he should have stayed on the fence, but he didn't. He angled away looking for a run. Leading on the fence was the winner, Kookarai, and directly behind it was Fortune 500. And when they turned for home, P. Mertens, he went, unfortunately, instead of going on the inside of Fortune 500, where there was a mile of room, he went to the outside of it, and tailing P. Mertens through from last position was Lucripidus, and it never left the 18 pence, and it finished up going through and running second, but beaten easily by 2.3 lengths. Whereas from after easing off the fence, turning for home, Panko hasn't really been let go. It went from the more or less top of the straight, or just after flattening out, to the winning post without getting a run. So its run can be overlooked. It went up at $4.40, got out to $5.50. I think $5 was taken early in betting. I couldn't lay it at the $5. I must admit I tried to, but it was $6.50 begging at the finish, and you couldn't lay it. Fortune 500 was $12 into 11. Similar with In Excess, $12 into 10, and the bottom one, Burnout, from 15 out to 17 I gave, but started $15 on my board, only about 97%. And as I say, this race was presented to the winner, Kookarai. It was a 1900 metre race, and Josh Parr, he must have been saying how sweet this is. How sweet this is. He would have been cooing like a dove. When they got to the 800 metre mark, all it was to the 800 metre mark was a track gallop. And he said, let's go, when sitting on his outside was In Excess, who did a little bit of work to get there. And coming from midfield, making a move after they went past the 800 was the stablemate, Burnout. McAvoy, clever Karen, he was a Jerry, but he should have taken off before he did, but it wouldn't have mattered. He finished being beat 6.8 lengths, Burnout. It's not much good, but it hasn't got a turn of foot. It needs a stack of pace on. And just soon after the 800, Josh Parr, jovial Josh Parr, said, we're off, and it won by 2.3 lengths. It wasn't a true run race. Race 7, there was 106.1 on the screen and only 98 in the marketplace. Now, where's the difference here? Well, you wouldn't have seen it, but Lucy May Lynn, as much as $7 was given about it. It bled, unfortunately. It was trapped wide in the run, bled, got a bit of a prat. It opened up $4.60, got out to as much as $7 as a sabre, started 6. Misspoken, went from 6 out to 8.50 back into 8. Now, the visitor from Melbourne, trained by Leon Corstens and ridden by jovial Josh Parr again, he got a charm run here. It was backed, Hadronica, it opened up $10, was into $9, back to 10, $9.50 taken at one stage, into $8.50, but got back out to about $9, or even a little bit better, $9.50 when they jumped. Melberg, it was 26 out of 31 taken into 26. She Rocks My World, it led. It ran last, unfortunately. It went from $5 out to $6.50. Emerald Downs, he went from $5 out to, well, I won't say 6, but $5.50, but started 5. Now, Mattiong, well, there are plenty of excuses for Mattiong. It went up to 5-2 favourite. It got out to us, you wouldn't see it. I'm embarrassed to say you could have got the best fluck I think was 440, but you could have got as much as 5. Well, you got 5 in the outside ring for a bit of section, but plenty of 440 and 460 on the fence. It started 380. It most probably should have won. And it ran a cheeky race, I'm Mary 2, coming from last on the fence, easy off heels, getting middle splits. I think they returned to 17. I was 21 when they jumped. It ran a fairly good race. The winner, as I said, Hardronica, it led She's Rocked My World. On its outside was Melberg, and they were rolling along fair pace. And jovial Josh Parr was just sitting looking at the pair, and the others were back sort of checking off each other, especially Mattiong, who threw its head up in the air when they jumped and went back to last position, and then finished up in between I'm Mary 2 on the fence and Lucy May Lynn, the three of them running in last position, and it was in between the pair, throwing its head about. And when they turned for home, the very perfectly balanced Rodney Quinn, he couldn't get to the outside and had to wait for a split, and the split never came until the race was all over, and then it got through with a little bit of luck. If it jumps, it's most probably a bit untractable. If it would have jumped and it got a better run and things panned out a bit better, it most probably would have got the Vickies. And it started $3.80 favourite, and it was a bit unlucky. Then we came to the last. Now, in the last race here, just looking very quickly what I've written down here, notably War Charm, they said it started $3. Well, I was $3.60 when they jumped. I was laying it, I must admit. I was laying at $3.40 for a good bit of section, then $3.50, and I did lay the winner very, very well late, and I had to reach for the favourite a little bit more. 110.1 on the screen sounds all right, but there was only about 101, I thought, in the marketplace. Now, these were the flux. Purinata, well, went from $17 out to 21. Not out, well, I was 21 when they jumped. Annually turned 17. It was 16 out to 21. Heartbreak Hotel, I didn't want to miss it. I bet $14. It only started 9.50. Magic Weekend was 26 taken into 21. It was always 101 our Barney. Z Line, I was $13 when they jumped, $9 out. Conroy's Gap, I gave $19 for a good bit of section. They only started 16. Radar, $6 given, but plenty of 5.50, and it started that price. Colonial Night, or Colonel Night, it went up 17 and got out to 21. Skip Town, it fluctuated twice. It was $7 into $6 at one stage early. One of the very first runners they backed into $6, but then got back to as much as $7.50, but only started $6. Very well backed. I think the last bet I laid was to win 5,000 at whatever price it was. And War Charm, it went up to $2.80 favourite after its very unlucky run at Canterbury. But I think I might have warned you that it would be well under its right price next start, which I thought it most probably was. It got back in the field and ran on, made up plenty of ground, came from fourth last on the fence, wasn't interfered with or held up, and made up plenty of ground to be beaten 2.3 lengths in the third hole, and went up to 80, got out to 330 taken at one stage, into 320, but started, as I say, well, they only returned at $3, but I was 360 when they jumped. And the bottom one, Balzac, it was 31 into 26. This winner, leading on the fence, holding out. Kiranada crossed and went to the fence, and it tried to cross it, Colonel Light, but it couldn't. It finished up running last. It was a half a length or neck in front of the runner on the fence, Kiranada, who would have been a great result for the captains all the way. Sitting in fourth position or third position on the fence was Balzac, who hit the rail at one stage, but that wouldn't have mattered. And in the 1-1 position, getting a cosy run with 2 under the limit with 3 off. It's back, Skip Town with Ichikawa on board, carrying 52 kilos only. It sat in the 1-1 position, and then it in fifth position on the fence was Conroy's Gap from barrier 1, and on its outside was Z Line, and then it was a good 3 or 4 lengths back to the others, the other 6 or 7 runners, headed by Heartbreak Hotel. And when they turned for home, Ichikawa, he just simply eased around the tiring Colonel Light and went up to the leader, Kiranada, but he didn't run away from it by any means. He only beat it by 0.8 of a length, and Kiranada fought on very well. And the favourite, as I say, came from fourth last on the fence into third hole. They all more or less had the chance. The winner got a charm run, and it was always going to be up near the lead, and things panned out well for it. Radar, who started second favourite, it was back outside Heartbreak Hotel, and most probably the favourite, trapped 3 wide back in the second division. And it's only things have got to go right for Radar, and they didn't go right for it today, and it was fairly disappointing. That was about the meeting. As I say, it was not as hot as expected, but it was a late finish. It's late now where I'm doing this, so we'll see what happens during the week. I hope you had some luck. Good evening.